Alright, we're going to dry fit the board now that we got everything cut out. Factory locations, front and back. Slide this, slide the front piece in here, like so. And then the back goes back on where the bolts are. Everything fits nice. Should be ready to start the next step, which will be clamping things in place and drilling and riveting. We're going to install the nuts back on here and bolt the front back on. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just throw the flat washer, stock nylon lock nut back on the back. I'm just going to hand tighten them just so that the back won't fall off. The front, they do give you get 2 new bolts with the kit. You may have to play with these a little bit to get them to line up right. On occasion, one hole may not line up. May need a little bit of tweaking so you can get it lined up. Just like that. Put the nuts on the other side. Now we're just going to snug all these bolts up and move on to the next step. We've taken the sled off the lift, laid it on its side. It's a lot easier to drill the rivets from the bottom side into the boards, laying on the side. So what we're going to do now is we've got a gap here. As you can see, there's a gap that we need to close up. We need to use the clamps that I have to suck the board up against the tunnel and down against the tunnel. You're going to want to clamp as many clamps as you have, use them all. What we're going to do is we're going to clamp probably about right here. Make sure that this is tight against the tunnel, this part's tight against the tunnel, and it's also tight against this lip. Then we're going to go ahead and we're going to pop these 3 rivets in right here, and then slowly work our way up. They want rivets every 2 inches. I'm going to put one back here. We're going to do these 3. I'm going to put one here, and then every 2 inches until we hit the end. As you go, if you don't have enough clamps, we're using quick grips. Quick grips work good. I would refrain from using vice grips. It's going to damage the powder coat. Could possibly even dent the tube. So try to find something that isn't going to damage the board itself. But anyhow, you're going to want to use as many clamps as you can find. If you only have a couple clamps, just do a little bit at a time, work your way down, keep moving the clamps. The board's clamped now. Got this clamped, pulling it down against the lip. This one here is pulling the board against the vertical part of the tunnel. This is nice and tight up against the board. We're going to drill out these 3 holes. We're using a pneumatic rivet gun, which makes life a whole lot easier. It can be done with a hand rivet gun. They're not cheap. These aren't cheap, so not everybody's going to have one. Hand ones do work just fine. Okay, these three are now tight. We're going to release the clamps. I'm going to now lay out along this edge every 2 inches. On the other side, I did one at 1 inch behind the bracket, and then I went every 2 inches, and I'm just making a mark so I know that that's where I want to drill a hole. Then you're going to go ahead and use you can either use a spring-loaded punch or just get a hammer and a punch. Mark all your spots so you know, so your drill bit doesn't wander. Okay, I'm going to move my clamps, and we're going to just continue on down until we make it all the way. Alright, so we got to reinstall this rivet right here. I trimmed mine. You don't have to do that. Doesn't show you in the instructions to trim them, but otherwise it hangs out over here, another spot for snow to collect. So I trimmed mine, I drilled a new hole. I'm going to pop another rivet down here as well, just to keep that from flapping. There are 4 black 5/8 head rivets in the kit for this particular application. Okay, there's a last step here. We got 2 rivets that we drilled out. The factory location, we're going to go ahead and drill 2 new holes into the new boards and pop rivets in there. And short of that, there's really nothing else to do. We've got to put in our traction screws, which we'll do here in a little bit. Okay, last thing we got to do here is put the torque screw back in and move on to the traction screws. The last and final thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take a shot back. I'm going to clean